G'day there. Today I'm with Rick from Celtic Constructions, and we've been working on a project here, well, building at least.
Yep.
The project's gone for a fair bit longer, but we've been working now here for 6 or 7 months.
Yep, from start to finish, pretty well, yeah.
So this is a commercial project different to the residential projects that I normally talk about, and I just thought I'd get Rick's insight as to how a commercial project of this nature is different to a residential project. So, Rick, in terms of the people involved and the processes involved, is a commercial project quite similar to a residential project?
It is, definitely. There's the same process. Like I said, we start at the ground, work your way up. The difference is there's a lot more government regulations and instances where you've got to make sure things are right from the start. It could cost you quite a lot of money down the track.
Right.
Domestic housing, generally it's pretty straightforward. There's a lot more tolerances given. You can get away with a bit more. Also, a lot more variance of trades. In a normal domestic house, you might have probably 30 different contractors. On a project like this, you might have 130. Because you've got specific, like this particular dealership, you've got aluminium louvers and screening and polyc two-pack panels, which are worth a lot of money. They're damaged, so protection of them is the utmost, whereas domestic housing, products that are used are easily patched and rendered and fixed. Whereas these products, these fancy glass panels and that, they cost tens of thousands of dollars. If they are damaged, it's not that easy to replace, and they're very costly. So the workplace health and safety has to be premium grade, because if you're injured, obviously insurances. Domestic housing, it's sort of a bit more lax.
Yep.
Even though you have to have your workplace health and safety there also.
Yep.
But in this area for the public, highways, barricading to protect public and workers is increased a lot more than just on a domestic house.
So this site here,
Yep.
excuse me a second, this site here, I'll just show at the front there is the effectively, well, it's not the highway Brisbane to Sunny Coast, but it carries 35,000 cars per day. So with that, I suppose there's a lot of eyes on a project like this where people, I guess that adds to the level of professionalism in the way that the site is kept and kept clean and those sorts of things, and safety.
Most definitely. You've always got workplace health and safety coming past. You have to do the right thing anyway, but when you've got public there, vehicles, you've got workers working out close to the roads, you might have to set up water barriers, things for their own well-being, as well as our company's name and reputation. You don't want any accidents or anybody to be injured.
Yep.
So you try and do the right thing and involve everybody who's out there, let them be informed, do a little site induction, just saying, minutes of a meeting, just explaining that these are the do's and don'ts. Can be fatal, fatalities on the highway. So that's where the costs do come into it. You've got a generally in a housing estate, there's not too much through traffic, and you're generally not on a highway like this. But basically, check your fences every day, make sure they're up, they're locked. If you have to do work, make sure there's pedestrian access for pedestrians at all times, so they're not they're out of harm's way, so to speak. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I think you do this is the second job we've worked on together, and I think you do a terrific job. You know, personally, you on site, I really think you're a master at keeping cool when things aren't going to plan. Often subcontractors are difficult. They're on about their own well-being, their own life, so they're often hard to get to finish jobs, and I think you do a tremendous job in actually keeping on those guys whilst maintaining the relationship so that it's not adversarial and you get them back to, do what they're supposed to be doing, but sometimes they just need a fair reminder about that.
Well, thanks.
So, but the thing on a job like this is you've got this job, I just can't recall exactly, but we're probably about 800 square metres of floor area.
Yeah,
something like
850,
that.
yeah.
Which would be an absolutely enormous residential building. I mean, you've probably done houses that big, but
yes.
The scale of commercial buildings in this building here. The ceiling height, for example, is about 4.5 metres?
5.2, yeah.
5.2 metres.
It's a long way up, so obviously you've got scaffolding, you've got to make sure you don't have the thing tip over and make sure people are sort of watching everybody else, working under people, because the high ceilings, a low set house, generally you don't have those issues where things drop on you or hammers or anything like that. But yeah, basically I do try and stay calm, and it's probably one of the most important things. You've got two ways to be. You can be aggressive or you can be calm. The job still has to be done. I seem to find that you get more out of your men by being calm, and if they are a bit aggressive, just be calm, go over to them later on, so now what was all that about? And, you know, generally most guys will have a chat and say, I've got a few issues at home, or this is happening, I'm sorry, mate.
Yep.
And if you keep your voice down and your tone down, we've got to achieve it anyway, either way. The job will have to be completed on the completion date, either way.
Yep.
So if we can make it like a friendship or a bit of a mateship with one another, I try and do that with most of the guys. And I know we all do have tough lives. We have bad things in our lives happening, and it makes the job go well. And the guys in general settle down and say, right, let's get it done. And the job does get done.
Now, we've never talked about that specifically, but that's what I believe that very much, that at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We want to live happily as we can, and yes, we've got to work. So why not combine those two things and really focus on relationships, because that's the way we do get the best out of people.
I think so, and if you can free them up, you can actually find out what the issues are, if you can sort of get them on your side, because a lot of times they won't tell you what the problem is, and if they know they can trust you, so what's the issue, mate? You're so upset, you're angry, you're throwing things around. What's the issue? I can't get this to work. And often a person just wanders in, like myself or yourself, might say, well, why can't we do it this way? Because you're thinking outside the box. And that person goes, I've never even thought of that. And that makes all the difference. And you say, off I go. That person's happy for the rest of the day. So if you can help them out too, a lot of builders and that don't like that. You're a contractor, sort your own crap out. But you know what? If somebody's got a better idea or come up with something that's going to be productive, for the situation, let's go with it. You know, and I'm not that person says this is the way it's got to be. As long as we can get to the end, there might be 7 different paths that we follow. But eventually we will get there. So it's very, very important.
You know, there was several time delays, fairly substantial time delays on this for different reasons. And if we come into this building, say 8 weeks ago, I was thinking, I think we're really going to push our completion date. Whereas you pulled it in magnificently, and it's surprised me a bit. Every time I've come, I've thought, wow, you've really gotten on top and made great progress in that time.
Well, basically, once again, you've got to think ahead, that 2 to 4 weeks ahead, try and get gear coming in. You think, I'm never going to get there, like we had some firewall issues and stuff like that, but you never give up. You just keep booking your gear in, booking your men in, and just say that we'll get there no matter what. And eventually it all falls in place, as long as you're pre-thinking. Again, in domestic housing, it's a little bit different. You can virtually get your whole house delivered at once. You get your frames, trusses, ceiling battens, you know, roofing virtually all done in a week. Whereas here, there's a lot of specialised materials and composite materials that we use. Very hard. They're once-off companies that supply these things, and virtually we've got to make sure that we get it right and we get them ordered. So basically, it's come together, and I appreciate that, because we've worked well together, and the job's come together, and hopefully have more work together down the track.
No worries. Thanks, Rick. Good on
you.
No
worries. Cheers. Thank you.